Guys, welcome back to the video. So today we are going to learn about control structure and asymptotic notation. Last video we learned about data structure and its types. So the topics we are learning today is control structure and asymptotic notation. So control structure are of six types. That is if, switch, if else, while, do while, and for. Selection statements are if else, and switch, whereas looping statements are while, do while, and for. So selection statements are used to perform decision making statements. For example, if you have two chocolates, that is dairy milk and five star, you have to choose any one chocolate, so that you are making a decision in between which you are going to choose. So that is called decision making statements. If and if else are two-way branching statement, whereas which is multi-branching statement. If and if else, you will have a lot of confusion, that is where to put the bracket, where to close the bracket, or which part of the code you should place in which block. That will be very confusing. Whereas in switch, you can write easily one part of code in case one other part of code in case two, so that you can write multiple cases, so that you won't get a lot of confusions. So selection structures are implemented usually in C and C++ with if, else, and switch statements. So if statement, if the if statement is true, then the statement inside the braces will be executed. So if the expression you're given in the if is true, then it will enter the inside block, that is statement one and statement two. Otherwise, if the given expression is false, then it won't execute that block. For example, now you take integer value as num. So if you're giving if num is equal to 1, then you're giving printf as diagonal. Otherwise, if num is equal to 2, you have given printf as 5 star. Now you have to make a decision between 5 star or diagonal. So if you are making 5 star, you will give num is equal to 2. So part 1, that if 1, the num 1 will be false and num 2 will be true, and it enters the block and give you the answer as 5 star. If else statement, expression 1 is accepted if two statements inside the curly braces are executed. So it is same like if statement only, but you'll have multiple options. Like you have three options here. For example, four options you have. So if expression one is diagonal, expression two is five star, expression three is diagonal, and expression four is some jumps. Okay, now you'll give you want to choose any one chocolate between the four. You'll give for example 3, that is dimensional. The rest of the except expression 3, rest of the block will be skipped, and the result will be a dimensional switch statement. As I've told that here, any part of the code can be written in case 1, case 2, case 3, where there will be no certain brackets which will make you confused. You can directly write in one block of code, dividing it into multiple branching statement. After every case, you should give break. That is, it comes out of the particular block. If the block is incorrect, first it will check the block. If the is incorrect, it comes of the come out of the block, and then it will go to next block. That's why break is used. Default value is if none of the case 1 or case 2 value is true, then it will give the default value as true. While statement. The condition is tested for true or false. Statement inside the curly braces are executed as long as the condition is true, while is an entry control loop. So here, while, do while, and for are looping statement. Like for example, it will be continuously evaluating the particular loop till you get the correct answer. So now you'll give the condition while condition, then it will go into the particular block and execute statement 1, statement 2, statement. So it will execute a part of particular code. Now here, while is considered as an entry control loop. Here, in while we are not going to give any termination. Termination means semicolon. Otherwise, it won't execute the particular block. So, if the condition is true only, then it will enter the block. If the condition is false, it won't enter the block. So, do while is an exit control loop. Where while is an entry control loop. In do while, we are terminating the while loop at the last. If the expression is true or false, it will execute the block. If the expression is also false, it will execute a particular block. Because in do while, the condition is if the expression is false, you should at least do while executes the part of block at least once. For statement. The for statement is an entry control loop. The difference between for and while loop is number of repetition. For you can repeat till when how many times you want to repeat the loop. So for consists of three types: initialization, test condition, and iteration. Initialization initialization means uh, for example, now you should start a particular number from 0 or 1. You will initialization means you're starting a particular number from 0 or 1, whichever number you want. Test condition is how many times the loop is going to repeat, that is 10 times or 20 times or 30 times. That is up to your wish. Iteration means whether the I value should decrement or increment. Increment means add, decrement is minus. So you're giving giving the whether the loop has to increment or decrement. If then it will enter the part of block and execute the code. Now asymptotic notation, it is actually used asymptotic notation are actually used to calculate the time taken, that is maximum time, minimum time, or average time. Last time we learned about time complexity, that is best case, average case, or worst case. That is that a part we are going to execute in big O, omega notation, and theta notation. So, asymptotic notation of an algorithm is a method of defining the mathematical foundation of runtime performance. That is, it will determine the runtime performance, whether it is faster, slow, or average. Using this asymptotic analysis, we can easily conclude the average case, best case, and worst case scenario of an algorithm. So, the algorithm are of three types: big O notation, omega notation, and theta notation. So big O notation. The top bound of an algorithm execution time is represented by big O notation. Big O notation rule is to calculate longest time an algorithm can take to complete its execution. That is, it is used for calculating the worst case time complexity for an algorithm. So big O notation usually takes longest time to complete its execution. One execution it takes longest time to complete. That's why it is considered as worst case. Now let's see the graph. So here, see CG of n f of n, the bound, the lower bound of f of n is considered as upper bound. So it determines the worst case taken to complete the execution. So big omega notation is where it takes best time complexity for an algorithm, that is it executes the expression very fastly, that is the runtime performance of an algorithm is completed very fast, that is best time of an algorithm. So now you can see the graph over here. So this the below cg of n is considered as lower bound. So f of n is at the top, that's why it is considered as uh, best case. Whereas in previous, f of n is down, that is considered as worst case. Now, big theta notation. Big theta notation is where it calculates the average time taken by an algorithm to complete its runtime performance. That is known as average bound. It represents the lower bound and upper bound of an algorithm. That is, it has the features of both big O notation and big omega notation. So now you can see the graph where f of n is middle, that is average case. Thank you. Please like, share, and subscribe.